Hop is brought to you by Perrier.
Good morning, good noon, good evening, whatever time and place you're listening to us from, straight from the 909. It's Mark, Andre, and myself, Isaiah, and together, that's hip-hop. Today, I'm not going to start off with that same line. Anyways, today, guys, we are covering MF Doom. We are very honored to be covering him today. We voted on it together as a team, and MF Doom came on top. I said it a little ago. You know, he was the mad villain that hip hop didn't know we needed. And he released the album we're going to cover today is Food. It's his fifth solo album and his second full length under the MF Doom moniker. And it was released by Rhyme Slayers Entertainment in November 2004. Well, I told the guys, one of the things we had is a MF Doom little character here. So he's here to represent today with us.
Our buddy right here.
Before we get into this, guys, I wanted to talk about, you know, what were our thoughts when we were talking about what album we were going to cover. And when we did come up with Food, what were our thoughts behind it? I'll start with myself on this. I for a long time, MF Doom, you know, has been someone that I've always known. He was a smart dude. I knew that hip hop was in his heart, in his soul. He seemed like a guy who had ill rhymes, who was also for the full package. He was a producer. He did his own cover album artwork, and I know he's had some past, but I think just seeing him visually, I immediately identified with him, and I was like, you know, I know, like, that's hip hop right there. What was it like for you guys experiencing MF Doom?
Well, me in particular is kind of like part of this run I was doing. I had found Mad Villainy first, so I started with Mad Villainy initially, and there's just this like experience I had with Mad Villainy that made me want to listen to everything that Doom was doing, right? So as I went through, I started with Operation Doomsday, and I just had to dissect everything he was doing. I had to break it all down. And I always landed back on Food. Something about it, just how he ran this concept, how he's able to maintain a single subject with all this unique subject matter, the rhyme patterns, the production quality, everything about it. I mean, even down to how it's like his chopping style seems sloppy, but it's also refined and clean. And it's like he always had this left hand, right hand balance thing going on with him. And just seeing Doom for the person that he is in real life and the MF Doom character that he's done, the parallels are crazy to how close he is to this character in the comic book. So when I look at Doom, it's like, wow, what he does musically is like damn near real. You know, it's like wrestling. Like we can actually treat it like it's real. So yeah, Doom's whole style, when it comes down to this particular album, it's like a masterclass of lyricism. Like you have to sit there and really break down all these little nugs and pieces, and you can't get it all in one sitting. You have to experience this album over a period of years. So yeah, this album absolutely crushes the game. If I want to learn something new, till this day, I still listen to this album. You know what I'm saying? So what about you, Mark?
The beauty about us talking about this album together is that there's a lot that goes with Food, especially since it was the first album that I heard when we're talking about MF Doom. I was put on to this album by a friend of mine, and the album got nonstop replay with me because he never sounded like an atypical rapper, and I kept giving him a chance. I bought the album, and it was referred to me, so I kept listening to it, and I was like, good God, this guy is he's onto something. And with listening to Food again and again and again, I then was trying to figure out what his other past works were about. So then I listened to MF Doom, MF Grimm, their album that they did together, the Operation Doomsday, and then when his subsequent projects came out with like Mad Villainy, Born Like This, he was and is, even up to his untimely passing, was just a a fantastic lyricist. And this album is, to me, prime MF Doom.
Classic.
As to where he had carte blanche to do what he wanted on this album, and you can see the artistic freedom within it. I really hope that the gods bless us with enough knowledge to even discuss this, because this album is indeed extremely layered. But I'm excited because it's one of these albums that's been with me. We're talking me listening to this album while playing God of War on the PS2. Me being in. I love
that you're always listening to albums while playing games. Like
me,
that was the way you digested it.
Me on vacation at with the Flores side of the family in New Mexico, playing this album, just trying to explore and find myself. This is one of those albums.
Did you know what you were even listening to? Like at that age, listening to this, did you you just liked the patterns, or what was it about it?
So at this point, with Food, the other album that I was really stuck on, because I really wanted to emulate a lot of just incredible lyrics. I wanted to emulate that and put it into my own stuff when I was rapping. I wanted to. It was this Illmatic and Paid in Full and Don't Sweat the Technique, and all that was just. It was just north of like really, really just simplistic rhymes from Nas, but still with depth. And then you go south with MF Doom to where he's rhyming. There's a lot of stuff in between that. There's at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 meanings to the 4 or 5 bars that he's spitting. Yeah. And then you're right into the Central America part of this north-south example that I provided, in where Rakim was just that perfect blend, with Eric B complimenting him on the production side. So it was a lot. It was a lot to take in during that time, and Food was in the mix. Plainly put, it was in the mix with me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It kind of snuck up on me.
Good God.
Oh,
wow.
We got live. I told you put too many action figures up here. I wanted him to originally do I was like, yeah, just bring the thing. It's Fantastic Four. It's Doctor Doom. And then he brings out Jabba.
He got Spider-Man. He got to have some friends or something. Like, he has to roll with the crew or something.
I want dudes that he has beef with.
Right.
What's Jabba going to do? Leia's there too. I didn't even see Leia. Anyway, I'm really excited to discuss this album with you guys, because it's, to a lot of people even to this day don't get it. And I'm going to be discussing a lot of the issues that we're going to have when we're talking about these lines later as we unfold this album, because there's a lot of chicanery, a lot of chicanery going on with the truth and the answers behind a lot of these lyrics. But yeah, let's get started whenever.
So let's talk with the album art. Talking about that.
Yeah, look at that.
What do you guys what do you guys think about? To me, just, I there's a couple things here. So when I see MF Doom, I knew that in his past, he was a tagger, and so that kind of like it goes along with it. But I never knew that back at that time, until now. So now when I look at this album now, I see that right away, and I'm like, okay, that's right in his territory. He started off like that, and then also too, I see he's having breakfast, and just on the basic level, it's letting me know like. He's eating MCs. That's what I think when I see it.
And you see who's under the table?
Oh yeah,
that's MF Grimm. That's MF Grimm.
Oh, that's MF Grimm.
You got Grimm down there
in that corner,
and he's just chilling.
I'm like, I spy. I'm like,
oh man, I didn't ever see that.
Yeah, bottom right. Grimm's on there kicking it.
There's the one beer in his left hand.
Right.
Nice. He has the beer in his left hand.
New York in the background, full moon.
I ain't gonna lie, man. When I initially saw it
on the
to be honest with you,
cereal box.
It was less appealing than Mad Villainy. Like when I was younger, I skipped over the album cover when I didn't know what it was. So when I didn't know who Doom was, that didn't catch me at all. But Matt Villainy, it just catches you, right? It's just like bam, his face, get it. Operation Doomsday looks like it just looks weird, right? When I look at Operation Doomsday,
like a comic book tile.
It does, but it's just like, it's just kind of crude, right? And then this one is just as crude. And what I mean by crude is just how it was designed, how it was drawn. When I was younger, I didn't like it, but now that I'm older, it looks like something that's like a classic. Like, I don't know, it does look like an old-timey painting now. Yeah. But before, I was like, who the fuck drew this? Like, no disrespect.
I used to love having the clear lined folders for high school because I used to slip in all my albums on there, like the album covers. I had food on the on one of the sides of them. So yeah, this is a lot personal to me because it was an album that I purchased. The friend that referred it to me is not a slouch in the regard of like when he recommends something, he highly recommends it. So it was something that I wanted to take in, went to the Virgin Mega Store, spent $14 because back then in 2004, $14, a lot of money. It's like $25 now. Yeah. And it was worth it. It was worth it because I kept listening to it over and over again, and you just started excavating layers. And I don't even think I'm to the core, even to this point, with a lot of what he's saying in this album or any of the albums that he has, because
there's no core.
Yeah. Even when you think you're at the core, you could probably just you're probably digging up fool's gold.
Yeah.
And not the real treasure.
It's always cool, and I don't know if I guess he does this. He has to do this intentionally. I don't know if he does or not, but he's wearing the green like sweater too. It's a cool it's a cool realism, like Andre was saying, like you have a character, but then it's also real at the same time. So he really has this green sweater on, like it's just his casual clothes, but he's also, he also has a color scheme of the real like MF Doom character in the comics,
Yeah.
I like how it's like we're bothering him, like we're coming up to the breakfast table and he's looking over mischievously, like
he's in the zone too, like the food, the beer. It's like
you want what I'm eating? It's like all this crazy stew, whatever. What is he eating anyway? It's like
probably his hoe cake breakfast.
yeah. It's like some weird cereal. The finest.
The finest MCs.
His mask is a tribute to the Gladiator mask that Maximus wears in Gladiator, and I like that too because he's not fully into the Doctor Doom character that he's supposed, that he has a light reference to. But the fact too that he's kind of like putting it over too with the actual green hoodie and everything. Yeah. But it's God, that album, man. Good God. It's dope. The album artwork's pretty cool, man. It's like satire.
Yeah.
It's not contemporary whatsoever. At the time, even at the time, it's like people took their album covers very seriously, this is kind of like a slap in the face to all that.
It's such a mundane task too. He's just eating breakfast.
At this time in 2004, I think Street's Disciple came out around that time, and you had Nas at the Last Supper put a lot of production into his album artwork, and then also as well, you also had Speakerboxx Love Below. That album artwork. Crazy in itself because it's a double album. And here we have this food.
Wild ass fucking.
It just looks like we're interrupting a brother eating breakfast.
Right. But I guess if you want to solidify the idea that he is running the comic theme, then I think that's the idea that he ran with it. But it to me, it's like it wasn't the best drawn. And I thought at the time that mattered. But that's not what it is. It's something different. It's like his production style. If you could visualize the album, it looks like his production style. Yeah. While I'm on that, though, can we go into the production? Like, how did you guys feel about the production initially?
I felt that MF Doom had carte blanche to do what he wanted to do on this album. It's free reign, does whatever he wants on this, and an unleashed version of MF Doom is the best we can get. He is without barriers. His whole career, he's been without barriers. I enjoy the fact that he has made fun during a couple of examples I could provide. He performed at Rock the Bells 07. I saw him at the the paid dues stage or whatever they had. It's like Far Side, Living Legends, and all that. But I was waiting for MF Doom. I even had an MF Doom mask ready back in the day. Damn. But check this out. The shift that I had before that, I was wanted to make sure I didn't forget my MF Doom mask. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll just put it on the dash of my car and it'll be straight. It'll be fine. I come back, and during this time, it's around August. This is when Rock the Bells was going on. I come back, my mask it's plastic. My mask is flatter than a pancake. And it just looks like, it looks like someone just got the mask, flattened it, and then put it back on my dash. So I was really disappointed because I probably would have been the only dude there with an MF Doom mask, and I would have been repping hard. So the example for Rock the Bells 08, MF Doom's up there, but it doesn't look like him. Rumor has it, I don't know whether or not it's factual or not. It could be true, but the rumor is
imposters.
that it was an imposter. It was actually he actually got kicked off stage because it wasn't him, but it was actually some dude wearing the mask, and he would do that.
Imagine the dude wearing the mask though, is just like
scared to death though, like scared though. You're not Doom, and he's like, oh shit,
big angry mob.
Yeah, right.
How does someone get figured out like that with the mask and like have body type?
Because he was light skinned. It was a light skinned guy.
So I enjoy the fact that that MF Doom was always against the grain, in the sense to where it's like nothing he can do would lead us astray as far as like his like fans. But then as far as the industry goes, it's like, try me, because I could put out a doppelganger here for a concert. I'm fine with that. I could put a bunch of Fantastic Four comic book animated scenes and samples in my new album I got coming out. Do that.
Yeah.
Does whatever. He like
to the production that you were asking. I thought all the samples was like crazy to find, like all these food references and all these different places.
Like, how long would it take to find all that on your
then
own?
Put it together
without
like
the internet.
dialogue.
Like, you can't. I like to think that hard though.
Right.
It's like
Without
no
that.
internet. You have to know every clip. You probably had to have seen it yourself. And know every point in which you would want to mix and match them. So that shit is not easy. To me, I think of like when you edit a film or even a YouTube video or something. Right? You have to grab every bit and piece and place it by hand where you need it. And back then, we didn't have technology that made it that easy,
So I feel like he's had to experience those things himself, probably.
Yeah, but like out of the whole concept is like, how crudely he has these chopped pieces of the sample, and he doesn't make it sound smooth, right?
Yeah.
Where at the time everybody was chopping and producing in a way to where you wanted the chops to almost connect or bridge. You might even change a chord progression or something like that, but. For him, he'll take the chords and just slam them against each other, right? And everything sounds crude, or he'll press the same chop, and he makes it sound almost bad. But the longer you listen to what he's doing, there's a place for everything he's doing, and it's like, he might have his samples in place, to tell a story, but at the same time, he's doing these mixing and chopping moments. At the time, it was kind of crazy to hear. And then the more I learned about production, I come back to, I was like, this was really hard to do, right? At first, it would just sound really crude. Like he just like the artwork, right? It's like, it's crude. It doesn't sound perfect, but he's dope at what he does. So lyrically, I was more focused on the lyrics. And then as I got older and came back to it, I was like, wow, production wise, he's bending and putting samples in spots where it's not normal. It's like unusual.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
it's like Riz on crack.
Yes,
like,
there you go. Yeah.
Throwing all these comic references, cartoons.
Yeah,
like he's just putting it all in there. I'm
and
like,
it's like,
dang.
that's supposed to be like hard, in a period where music's supposed to, as creative as it is, if you're coming from New York, you got to come off as hard, right?
Yeah.
And it's just this, it's like art thug shit.
It was his own art. Yeah, he was in his own lane, and it was going at his speed, whether you liked it or not. So you either had to adjust to it or not be with it.
It's interesting you said that, because you could tell it was his speed. Yeah. And when I first heard it, I was like, this is different. I kind of missed it, to be honest. I missed the gem that was there. I just didn't realize what he was to us. I totally missed it. But at the same time, I saw it. So it's weird. It's like, I know it's there, but I missed it, and I don't know if that's attributed to because he wasn't, in like the mainstream like that. He's always been that underground cat, or he was in the past, and he's made a comeback in his own way. So, but I just missed the gem that we had at the time. That's what it feels like to me.
I think he's aged perfectly.
Yeah.
Everything
for
aged
sure.
perfectly,
For sure. Like we're looking at this album now, MM Food, and you see how well this album has still aged in its time. In fact, we were just joking about it. It's like he predicted 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Like it's like weird how prophetic his words are, and it still hits today. Yeah. Like it's crazy. Yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's get into the first track, which is Beef Rap. This track is I'm just going to try to summarize this to the best I can. This track came out at a time when there was this rising phenomenon of diss beefs and rappers putting out tracks against each other, and it was causing a lot of hype, a lot of attention, and so Doom comes out with this track Beef Rap, and he does this cool play on this and talks about beef, like how beef is bad for you, but also how beef rap is bad for you, and you'll end up dead.
On both ends of the spectrum.
Even sides.
Yeah, the parallels of and that's another thing. I mean, that concept alone, lyrically, to have a parallel of what we're already seeing, and then also for it to match with his food thing.
Yeah.
But the idea initially, though, when you first get it, you don't know what the hell he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, beef rap can lead to get your teeth capped.
So many times I had to pause it, Andre, and like, okay, wait, what did he say again? Like, there's a lot of moments. Like,
rewind that too. Yeah, you have to rewind them a lot.
You bring a good example too, because there is the two sides to where he's talking about the health precautions, and then he's also talking about the real life precautions, where he says can lead to get your teeth capped or even a reef from two Mod Dukes on some beef crap. And later in the song, it's like there ain't no starting back once arteries start to squeeze.
Right. But listen to that line though. Ain't no starting back once arteries start to squeeze. It's like ain't no starting back. You'll die. You're not gonna be able to do it again.
Right.
Once arteries start to squeeze, when the pressure in your heart breaks because you had too much beef. And when you get too much beef and get killed, right? So the thing I noticed about Doom is there's a black side and a white side to what he does, right? And the black side is the street ghetto side, and the white side is the scholar side, where it's like, if you're really smart and you went to college, you'll get certain aspects of what he's talking about. And if you're from the streets, you could get the same bar, but on a street level. And that's what he does perfectly on this album. I mean, he's done it on other ones, but this is the one where you can really see that parallel. Like, everything he does is that perfect balance. Like, it's really fucking crazy. And then as far as the technique on this joint, man. Initially, when the song starts, though, it's like 8 minutes of samples, right? And it's like, initially, I don't skip it though.
I got something special for that one.
Right?
Does that bother you? Like for some people, it's like a little bit of hindrance, but for the fan, like it's not so much of a big deal.
I mean, for a super fan, it doesn't matter because
the first time you gotta like. What the hell? Like you don't fast forward a
bad
movie.
Copy,
right? You think you have a bad copy?
No, because it's like in the '80s movies, right? Like it takes a while for the action to start. Like Commando or something, Rambo. And so it's like you wouldn't fast forward through that part, right? With them talking and everything. So that's what it feels like to me. It's just like the start of a movie. But then I'm like, when the song drops, it always hits the same, no matter what. So I never skip the beginning. I always get straight to it.
I felt like I was missing a message or something.
It was it changes every time. It changes every time. That's what it is. It's like every sample is placed exactly where it needs to be. And to me, it's just like it gets you ready for the villainy.
Setting you up for something more than an album. This isn't just your everyday album. Hence why we're discussing it 20 plus years later. The guy made it very theatrical, like very theatrical. There's even when we get into it,
can I hop
later into it? But it's a lot of samples as well.
As far as the rhyming and the technique, though, I have to. Operation Doomsday, he had technique on another level, but on food, it's like he figured. I don't know what it was. He just got this pocket down, right? So he wasn't rhyming as consistently as another. I mean, like he's rhyming over the top, right? But he's not doing these perfectly matched Nas level rhymes where every rhyme is exactly in the same spot in the bar. He's like leaning back and forth between it, adding syllables, removing syllables. But he's one of the MCs I was catching doing full sentence rhymes like it was nothing, right? So a top bleeding baby fella took the loaded rod gear, stop feeding babies colored sugar coated large squares.
Look at that.
That whole thing is a rhyme. That whole shit is a rhyme, and it's like, what? And then when you hear what he says, top bleeding, so maybe fella took the loaded rod gears. A loaded rod gear, like what is that, right? So back then it's like you have to sit and listen to him, of course, like all good rap, but if you don't know what a loaded rod gear is, you really have to like either Google it, or I'm trying to think of back in the day, you didn't have things to help you. So if you heard these bars, you're just like, whatever, right? And he says it so fast, it goes over your head. But then when you really break it down, it's like he rhymed every part of these sentences. Top bleeding, maybe fella took the loaded rod gears. Stop feeding babies colored sugar coated large squares. It's out of this world, like especially for that time, for it to roll so smoothly.
And even the next bars over, he still keeps, it's still about the odd fears, God's fears. Even when it's rotten, you got to do the hard years. He's still rhyming.
Years.
Like it's like it still doesn't stop.
And he's a perfect rhymer, right? Like there are other rhymers that like there's perfect rhymes and there's slant rhymes
When he
right?
wants to, exactly.
So yeah, cat, hat, those are perfect rhymes.
Yeah.
But cat and brag, right? That's slant.
Slant, yeah.
So a lot of the newer rappers today, even some of the doper lyricists, we lean on slant rhyming because it's just easier. You can match Firehouse with Dire House, right? And it'll work. But he matches every sound perfectly all the way through. That's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Like, let's see, rod gears and large squares, that the way he bent it, he makes them sound exactly the same. Perfectly rhymed. So when you listen to Doom in the future, like, pay attention to how hard he accents sounds exactly the same. It's not normal nowadays. It's like he's one of the last guys to pull it off. All of his rhymes are perfect, like really, literally perfect.
Would you say like, is this like, this isn't like peak Doom, is it? It's like him approaching peakness?
No, it's not peak Doom.
I'm thinking,
like approaching it.
I'm thinking at this point, there's nothing stopping him from doing whatever he wants on this album. Whether that's him being a pioneer, whether that's him blazing his own trail. I think this is just him.
Yeah.
This is the red carpet being laid out for him. This is a grand introduction. Perhaps there's a lot more. I'd say there's a lot more lyrically within Mad Villainy than in Food. But still, even with this one, I still feel that Food's more appealing to me. So I mean, we can always have we can always agree to disagree on that.
It's like the initial first smartphone. So it's like, brand new technology and we're just getting the hang of it. And then Mad Villainy is like a refined version of the smartphone, right? Because I feel like he let Madlib handle the production and he got on the bars and that worked perfect. But this is all Doom at once and it works to me. To me, if I wanted to like express how his kung fu style works, I would say this is the album you go to.
Yeah, because it's even him. It's his rhymes and his beats versus with Mad Villainy, you're dealing with Madlib and him on that.
And another example.
This would be all him in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another example of his rhyming, especially on this one, light the doobie till it glow like a ruby, after which they couldn't find the villain like Scooby, right?
Yeah.
Mad rhymes in here, but the perfect rhyme is doobie, Ruby, and Scooby. Like a slant rhymer wouldn't go off of the ooh B sound perfectly. Yeah. They would try to play around and like groovy. They would use groovy to rhyme with this. Groovy is not a perfect match. Scooby, Ruby, like he goes for every sound perfectly. So it's not easy. When you listen to Doom, it's like a perfect piano player, or a guitar player that plays with perfect pitch. Like he gets everything right there, perfectly accented, man. It's incredible. And then, there's like wordplay bends and shit that he does too. So after which they couldn't find the villain like Scooby. So like instead of going after the villain, they went after a witch because they went off the wrong direction. So like come on, man. Like he's so ahead, man. Just the amount of tech that he was doing at the time. It's like I'm telling you, new technology, man. Very brilliant. Very brilliant.
So one of the first samples, remember I was telling you, I felt like it was like encrypted almost. I was like, what am I missing here? What's the message here? Yeah. So the first sample of this track, where he's talking about, oh, I got a little lunch for you. Let me munch on something.
Munch up a little bit, man.
Yeah,
give me a munch.
Bit, man. There's someone on YouTube put like all of what he's sampling or whatever. So I looked up the first thing, and it's this movie, and it's called Wild Style. Mm-hmm. It's a dope hip hop movie. I think like we got to watch it one of these days together.
Down. That'd be fun.
It's about these kids who are like graffiti artists, right? And they're tagging up and they're making a name for themselves. And there's a news reporter who wants to interview them. And he's like, nah, man, I don't want to be put in the press like that. Like they're going to blow up the spot. Basically, like cops are going to come and take me to jail and all this stuff. anyways, he gets this opportunity to tag up this big piece that's going to be a stage used for like a hip hop event. And he tags up this beautiful, like these hands coming down with lightning hitting the stage, but in the middle of the stage, in the background, he was going to put like his name, like Zorro, I guess is what he went by. And his girl was like, that's whack. That's whack. Like, I see what you're doing. Like, it's not about you. And he goes, what? He goes, well, why don't you get out of here or something? And then she goes, the thing is, it's about the rappers. The rappers are the stars of hip hop. You're into graffiti, that's hip hop. You're into dancing, that's hip hop. But it's about the rappers. They're the stars of this. Yeah. And then it clicked, and he's like, oh, that's it. So he graffitied a star in the middle of the stage. And then later that night, it goes into like the MCs came, they were rocking this event. Yeah. And it was just a dope movie. And just that one sample, I'm like, dude was on this movie like back then. This dude was into everything, comics, movies. Like this dude was a smart sponge.
Dude. Condensing every aspect of artistry into one thing.
And he was just spilling out these little nuggets of things he's obtained in his life. You can tell this dude was a curious mind, but on a quest for greatness. Go ahead.
I was going to say every sample is supposed to send you somewhere, right? But once again, pre-internet, it's like not fair back then.
Exactly.
So it's like if you don't know the movie, then you don't know.
You don't know,
and you might get lucky and watch it and catch that.
This is really that phrase that if you know, you know. This is when at that time you would have had to know that, otherwise you don't know.
Exactly. So I think on Doom's end, he kept everything underground. That's what it felt like.
So one of my favorite lines on this track, take the easy way out, phony. Until then, they know they wouldn't be talking that baloney in the bullpen. At first, I was a little puzzled by this line. I was like, what is he meaning by this? Take the easy way out, phony. Until then, they know they wouldn't be talking that baloney in the bullpen. And then I started clicking. I did the wrong thing, Andre. I was reading the lyrics, right? Yeah. I missed it. I'm like, what is this fool talking about? I don't get it. I'm over here puzzled for like 10 minutes. Like, what is this fool talking about? Because there's no commentary on this. It's just a blank line. So I'm like, I'm going back. I played the track this time. I listened to the track. And I instantly got what he was talking about. I'm like, these cats spitting off at the mouth, talking about they'll do this and that. He goes, take the easy way, phony. Until then, they wouldn't be talking that smack if they knew they were gonna pitch for me, the hitter. Next, they wouldn't be talking that smack. Yeah. So it just clicked right away. Yes. As soon as I heard the track, it clicked.
It's like everything is a painting, but the painting changes depending on how you look at it. Yeah. The best way to get the Doom lyrics is just to have the song on loop and like go to sleep to it. Yeah. Don't even write nothing. Just let it let the same song play for hours.
Even have the word out, because you remember your 3 outs in baseball too. Yeah. So that's one of the cool points of that bar as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
another deep lyric he said in this was, I'll just say just a few that I wrote down really quick. Drop dead joints, hit the whips like bird shit.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah, like a hole in their head over a third tip.
He's dropping these joints on you like bird hitting your car, like because they're gonna play it in the music in their car. Man, that's just that one line is just so swaggy. Like
you see how it has like there's so many ways that rhyme can go.
Yeah,
this is exactly what he does.
Doom has secret swag.
He's secret swag.
It's secret swag. It's like. He's supposed to. It's like hood nerd like secret swag.
Seriously. Yeah. I love this too because he gets real on the verse. He actually kind of breaks the fourth wall. He says, "I wrote this note around New Year's off a couple of shots and a few beers, but who cares? Enough about me. It's about the beats, not about the streets and the food he about to eat." Like, I love how you just kind of broke the fourth wall. Like, who cares? It's not about me, but.
And that's how it is. Well, there is another layer in regards to the food concept, right?
Yeah.
Food is what you consume. So consumption isn't exactly about what you're chewing and digesting, but what you listen to. So on top of the layer of beef itself killing you, and then being a rapper yourself, getting killed for the beef, but also being a consumer of bad beef, right? Like bad music is the beef, right? So Doom is running a play where he's like better than food almost, you know, like he's the good food for you. He's the green food, right?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, when you look at all the additional layers of how many things he can throw in per line, this album will give you a headache. Trust me, it gives me a headache.
And then we were talking on Jizza. Jizza was so dense and
it's like it's like Doom just I wouldn't say he doubled the output of Jizza, but it's like he just got a lot more information in.
Yeah.
He just squeezed in more concepts.
Yeah.
And I think he just like did an overarching concept with the food thing. It's like a long Jizza scheme just for one album. You know, so that shit works.
Okay, so are you guys ready to move on the next track here?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Hoe Cakes. On Hoe Cakes, Doom is basically talking about here. I hate that this is going to be a clip, but you know, keeping the hoes on check. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think about this track?
This was one of the tracks that gave me the idea that you could interpolate samples with the rap.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, like production wise. Oh, you can use the sample with your bars. That's what I got early on when I heard it, because I was like, from a production angle, to make your rhyme match with what your sample is saying, that was really original. That wasn't really happening a lot. So for him to be, I got this girl and she want me to duke her. I told her I come scoop her around. She said super, right?
Yeah.
And he's just playing off of the super, but he's really going off of that rhyme perfectly. Once again, the ooper, he's doing it all the way through. Trooper, well, yeah, that sounds great. Shorty girl's a trooper. No matter what I need to do to her, she'd be like super. So yeah, he completely 100% matches with the sample. That stick to my head more than the concept itself. You know, it's just talking that shit. But as far as technique is concerned, like that was a good example of how you can rap against a sample.
Yeah.
Yeah, like try it.
It's crazy how you can make a whole track just out of that little clip too. Just super.
Yeah,
like
and that's from Supersonic.
Yeah.
That's from Super. Like, yeah, it was
From
JJ
JJ Fad.
Yeah.
and it was
Rialto's.
Supersonic, and then Anita Baker. So that's a crazy mix already.
Yeah, that's a super crazy mix. And you know, this kind of reminds me, his production also reminds me of like what Kanye would go on to do on like on his later albums. You know, like this hard cut, like that was something MF Doom was doing a long time ago. You know, which is also kind of crazy, and another reason why he's also kind of ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And what else did I get out of this? Also, that the fact that he mixed these two different samples, like with the beat and then with this track, and they just seem like they go so well together.
Well, that's that's master DJ work, man. He was just DJing on them. But Hoe Cakes to me is just a smarter approach to a song about women. That's what it really feels like.
Whether it be like your hood chick or like a stripper or whoever it is.
It's not blatantly misogynistic. That's what. No, I'm just saying. It's like you have to really think about it a little bit. You know, compared to pimp bitches, pimp pose type stuff. It's more articulated.
It definitely is.
It's still villainous too. It still follows with the theme. Of
I see
Doom.
it as in the like he's speaking like in the villain character almost. Like, cause I think he was talking about, about like when he would pick her up, taking care of her, taking her shopping and all that stuff. But at the same time, when it came to him, she was down for whatever. And it was like super, like, I'll pick you up at this time, super. And he just talks about like meeting her up, but at the same time, he's talking about himself kind of like, being kind of like a man in the same sense, and making sure that you don't let it overtake you,
right?
Because they can easily have you. I don't know what the word is.
You can be slacking. The cool part about this song is that he still shows like a heroic standpoint with this, because he says when your husband goes to All-Star Weekend to ball, I'm coming with the U-Haul, saying that he's going to be moving her out, taking her out as soon as he leaves out there. But I think the most sound advice that he ever provided to us young men, whether a bougie broad hoe chick, nerd hoe street chick, don't call her wifey if you met her at the Freaknik. You don't want her to waste her time. I'll dupe her and be a father to the child like the super. I like that, because in one bar you have like three examples of what a very promiscuous woman can be, and who better to like structure it than MF Doom, and to still not even just give you that one bar, but still give you sound advice, and then just say, "Don't deal with that. I'll take care of her." And be a father to the child.
He's still running, but he's still in character too. So
absolutely,
the super to me is also a play off of his. He's a super villain. So
yeah,
he's a super pimp, super villain. It's like he's adding hoes to his stable to do villainous things.
And any chance he gets, he does bring in another type of villain. Like you said, I think King Koopa,
yeah,
I believe.
The boss on his throne, like King Koopa.
Yeah, so he always kind of brings in villains, whether it's Luther or whoever it is. He always kind of brings in a villain to like kind of take on that persona. And the line I like out of here was the one about when she's on a rag, never let her fry the ragu.
Yeah, so you know the tie-in to that, right?
Go ahead.
So I heard about this. My buddy Javon told me about this. Apparently, that if a girl like really wants to wife you up, the period blood would go into the spaghetti sauce, and so it's a good point there. I didn't think about that, and I'm just all like,
never feed it, but it's the ragu though. Like
I like that because it brings like this whole like theory about that, and he still brings it in the air, but in a sly kind of way.
There's still a word. There's a play in there though. There's a word play in there.
Still,
when she's on the rag, don't take the ragu, right? And then he does the spaghetti play, and then he says, "Yeah, you'll be stuck with a tattoo on your back, right?" So that's another play on the concept of. A woman could brand you.
Being a spell, basically.
Yeah, so you got two spells on you. You got the spaghetti spell, and then you got the tattoo on your back, so you can't leave.
Who's hungry?
Yeah, no, for real. I'm just saying, like, how many damn concepts, and then we still have the concept of food with the spaghetti.
Still going on.
Yeah, there's still a food element in the spaghetti. So
yeah,
it's like,
hell yeah.
It just keeps going. Like, there's all these connections, man.
Super.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But yeah, this one isn't my exact favorite song, to be honest with you. But of course, it's like excellent compliment to the first track.
Potholders. Potholders is actually one of my favorites on this album.
Hot shit.
And, on this track, it starts off with count bass D. And he spit some sick lines here, too. I just noted one of the first lines he says, Tyson is a foul holocaust. Hitler gassed your whole head up with poultry. I'm fed up. There's so much in this line right here. They're talking about poultry, Tyson being a big player in that, and basically like the way they're doing chicken is like the Holocaust. And again, with the food with the food references, and also the word poultry can also sound like poetry. And there's just so much in there in just that line alone.
Man. Yes.
But in this track, I think Doom's talking basically about like, like even in his own hood, there's people, and I could definitely relate. There's people in your life sometimes in your own city or your own town or whatever that try to hold you down, or they don't want to see you succeed or come out, and they like want to hold you back down. And he just talks about like rising above that. Like, in fact, so much so that he's putting seasoning on it.
Right.
And like, he's just eating them all up. Like, So in a way, it's, for me, I took it like he's saying like whoever wants it can step up and get it, and only two things are going to happen, for whoever's carrying the heat. Either you're in a coffin or you become this new boss.
Right.
And if it's between him or you, it's going to be him.
Right.
That's what I take out of this song and what he's trying to communicate. And
Playing
to me,
smart.
to me, it's just like, it's so bad because not only is he talking about that, but he's also relating it to, street stuff that goes on.
Well, that street angle that you were just talking about, that same line, I like this just because how it rolled off. Another example of him rhyming really well. But the line you just said, some say the price of holding heat is often too high. You either be in a coffin or you be the new guy. The one that's too fly to eat shoe pie. I thought that was funny to me. And that simple concept of how he has to say so much in a small amount of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, shoe pie is something that's so Doom, it makes sense. I don't think I could hear another cat saying that. But yeah, the one that's too fly to eat shoe pie, never too busy when it comes down to you and I. Shoe pie, like I'm just imagining a dude just getting stomped the fuck out. But when it comes down to how Doom puts it together, though, it's like it's like watching Christopher Nolan write a film.
the most quotable from this that always goes into like breakdowns and stuff is these old things I'm about to throw them away with the gold rings that make them don't fit like OJ.
Oh, that's
Usually I take them off of
yeah.
oil or Olay.
Yeah, basically.
MCs is crabs in a barrel past the
Take
Old
'em off
Bay.
the- yeah.
Even Old Bay is like a seasoning, like a seasoning, something like that,
yeah.
Old Bay. So it's one of those things where I was listening to it the first time, I'm like, damn, the gold rings that make them don't fit like OJ. I'm like, damn.
I love that
like,
line because he's saying basically that description doesn't fit him. Like that he's not guilty of.
But he said it like a nigga though. That's what makes it funny. That make them don't fit like OJ, and it's like that's the left hand right hand thing I have about him. He's like a super smart ghetto dude, right? So I don't know if he just said it's better to write it as urban as possible, but then he can be super articulate too. So it's like Doom style is he'll switch up on you in a minute. The more you try to dissect what he's doing, he'll just switch on you by the next one. Yeah. He's elusive, man.
I like the line he said, hot as hell and it's a cold day, ain't it? You know, that there's the phrase, it's a cold day in hell comes to mind on that line.
Flipping idioms out of order.
And it's in other words, just saying that that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hot day. It's a hot as hell. It's a cold day in it. Man, just the way he flipped that.
we could roll away.
It's so much. It's so much. It's so much style. Like you know, it's like who thinks of that? The way he flips it around like
But
that.
when you look at him, you don't you really don't expect him to do that.
Yeah, you don't. You don't see it coming. Like, and it's and that just you know that to me was the pleasant surprise of MF Doom. I didn't see it coming. I didn't know that this was the villain we needed. To be honest,
He wasn't atypical, and we either got it or we didn't. And this promotes replayability. This promotes us trying to figure him out. This promotes intrigue, and he didn't just do this within food. He did it with Mad Villainy. He did it with Born Like This and his previous projects as well. So there's a lot of mystique that goes with him on all these songs because to him, from his pen, this is how he normally writes.
Yeah.
And it's not a egotistical thing to say, you either get it or you don't, but this is what I'm rhyming. I like how it sounds.
Yeah.
Hey, here we are talking about this album. Here we are just discussing about how incredible the lyricism is.
I want to get to one beer.
Yeah. Let's do it. So one beer. I'll let you start it off, Andre.
I just think that was like the one that was on loop forever. I just had that one on loop forever, man. I think that's this is one of the best tracks on the album. It's just
What is it for you about this track?
when I didn't know what Doom was and I didn't understand Doom, this was the song that made me go, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like I didn't get it. And then this was the track I was like, no, he's doing something very different.
A lot of people consider this track to be kind of that introduction, one of the top like introduction tracks if you were getting into MF Doom for the first time too.
And it wasn't like I found it naturally. It wasn't like somebody told me to, hey, check out, One Beer. It's like I just when you have an album playing and then you hit the song, I think initially the beat caught me, and then after I kept listening, I'm like, he's not talking about a beer. And I didn't understand. I'm like, that's where we get here. When you get into this like pit where you're like, you want to get better at hip hop, and you want to get better at writing and understanding it. You hit this wall. And One Beer was that moment where I was like, he's not talking about a beer. And I had to really understand what he was doing.
Yeah.
The deeper I dove into the song, the more I realized this whole album is this. And then I had to go back and start the album again and realize, oh, everything is layered. That's how hard this album is. Like, I didn't know. So One Beer was the one I was like, wait, what is the beer? I thought he was talking about alcohol, but he's talking about alcohol, but he's also talking about an MC as well. So I'm like,
I missed that. See,
the beer is an
new to
MC.
me.
Yeah,
that's new
there's
to
like
me.
one. Okay, so there's a couple theories that we came across. Is the last beer is like one last real MC left, right? But also the beers are the very easy to beat MCs. You're a beer to me, so I could just. But there's only one left, right? So what do I do? This is the last beer. What do I do? In both contexts, if you're the last real MC left, then after that we ain't got no more real MCs, right? And then the other context is if you're the last opponent I have, then I'm done. There's nothing else to kill. Man, I'm telling you, bro. I sat down and had to
drop some bombs
bro,
on me.
I sat down with people and talked this one out, and I was like, as many theories have I heard. Some are absolutely stunningly ridiculous, and some are actually really spot on. So yeah, this one's fire.
I kind of thought I did have some clues that it would be related something towards that, because I know he's talking about like those trying to move up in the industry, whether you get there by train, by walk, or by cab, or however. You know, he's basically is saying like, you know, I'll do a number on the label. You know, I'll
eat up all your MCs and drink them under the table.
MCs.
Wait, but he's gonna eat up all your MCs, right? Like your label.
Like, yeah.
I'm gonna eat up all your
All of
MCs, and then if you want to catch me in a drinking contest, y'all can't
It's
even
on
beat me in that, right?
Yeah. Tell him it's on me, kid. But you know what hits so hard with this whole, like, with this line that we were talking about is just his own story. You know, because those who know his background story, Doom had a falling out with the label, and you know he was kind of done injustice in my opinion. But the fact that he still comes back, does it his own way, makes these lines hit even harder because he's had his own experience, similar to like Jizza, the RZA. Like this guy had his own experience with the labels doing him wrong.
That was the experiment.
Yeah,
I think with KMD, like if you follow the Fantastic Four storyline, KMD was just supposed to be them doing it right. And then when that fell apart and he lost his brother, that goes off as the tragedy that MF Doom, or that Doom experience, which caused him to go into the dark period, convert into the Doom that we know today. And that's when he came back.
right?
Because he killed Zeb-Love X and came back as Doom. So that's still aligned to how he tried to run it with the industry initially. So he's doing everything like the comic. And when you see Doom on that level, it makes his story that much deeper.
Yeah.
Like it's really, it's like a marvel.
Picture, you know, a guy who he's with his brother. He's in this rap group. They're doing pretty well. And a tragic thing happens with his brother. I think he got hit by a car or something like that. Something tragic, unknown, kind of what happened. But then Doom continues to finish the album that they were working on. And all because of his artwork on the album, he gets dropped because the publicist or whoever didn't like it. They misinterpreted. They probably didn't even listen to his album.
Right.
And they just saw that cover of like a hangman design.
And that's
and
it.
they just were not even knowing Doom's background, his story, like what just happened to him, what tragedy just happened to him. And then they just dropped him because the boss that his boss's boss or whatever, and the label was already under some heat for some other bad decisions he's made. So he kind of just had to buckle down and had to let him go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it wasn't no fault to Doom. He just had to drop him because he was just under pressure to do so. So imagine that. And so Doom has to now go back to, you know, couching it from house to house or doing whatever. And still there was so much creativity boiling up inside him that he comes out and then vamps his career by taking a character and like identifying with it and
becoming that character. I don't think he identified with the character. I really believe he aligned himself with this character. Like he's not cosplaying Doom. I think he's really being Doom. And that's how far out of this world he's gone with this character. If you really considered him like an artist, give him the same attention that you would Prince, right? As elaborate as Prince's stage shows are, his persona off stage, etc., Doom is the same thing, just in the context of rap. So he really goes that far. And I think people just go, he's a rapper that wears a mask. I know he's really so far into this writing thing that he lives his punchlines. So the things that he says, like, they say essentially these bars are real. You know, he's not just writing amazing punchlines. He's really as straightforward as he can be with his bars. But this track though, he plots shows like robberies, in and out, 1, 2, 3, no bodies, please, right? But you know, at the same time, that double up, that wordplay. So no bodies, please, like don't kill anybody, right? So it's that wordplay Jizza shit. He was doing that back then too. So he had all of it, all the bits and pieces there. It's just if we don't know what he's doing, then we're gonna miss the bar. But yeah, incredible work, man. One beer is like. Really consider what the beer is and change the context every time you hear the song. and you'll get something different every time.
Yeah, and then he's like, "How's there only one left? The pack come in 6." He was like, Whatever happened to 2 and 3?" It's like a Herb tried to slide with 4 and 5. And
Like,
got
what you
caught.
doing,
Like,
G?
what you doing, G? Don't want to get cut in like truancy,
Right.
dog. He explains like what happened, why they got down to the one beer. And it's typical. It's like, damn, what happened to those beers?
What happened to the other guys? Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So what happened to him? So you see me? So this was the one that really actually unlocked the theme of this whole album. Because when I heard it, I was like, okay, he's not talking about a beer. And then I went back, I was like, everything's about food, but he's not talking. Well, he is talking about food, but what's the main layer? And then it got me like really going on how dense this album is. So yeah, one beer was like the key that unlocked everything, man. It's that one.
Dang, I'm mad at myself for just figuring that out. I'm like, dang it, I missed something. Okay. And then one of the lines I did like from here also is from the same track is just right off the gate. This album coming out at a time in 2004, at a time during that snap your fingers. Tuesday, or crunk, and everything this was that era.
Yeah.
And to me, that era did bother me.
Yeah.
But
the white t-shirt era.
Yeah, the white t-shirt era. I was so much in my underground.
Dirty South, baby.
I was so much in my underground stuff, like that bugged me. So anyways, this is during that era, and then that's a time too. Lil Jon was so big. He was popping, and he even says this, you're yelling at us like we're deaf, because you could think of who is he talking about, and just the first person that comes to my mind,
that era,
Lil Jon,
that era,
yeah, and he's coming out during this time, so soft spoken, so meticulous, so crafty, and just the total contrast of that, during that time, which to me, that's just so dope. Yeah. Just how he just came out with it.
That beat put me in trance state, man. Yeah.
A big old breakdown.
Like for real, because that beat is like, you can go so hard on that beat. And what Doom did, which is actually really interesting, since you brought that up, right? He didn't yell on this joint at all. But if you really wanted to get on it yourself, I feel like there's so much energy you could put on that. You could
put it on so much energy on that track. All right. I think we're good on this one. Let's move on. You have anything to say on that one, Mark?
I'm good.
Deep Fried Friends. This is a track I actually liked a lot. I liked how he flipped the Friends track. And he just kind of goes into all aspects of like friends and his own experiences with friends. And I think one of the lines that I liked out of here was the one where he said, like, send me a letter or better, we could see each other in real life, just so you know, just so you could feel me like a steel knife. I was like, damn, dude. Like, so you could feel you like that.
He bodied the sample in a way that makes it like loopable. Like we could repeat this all day. To me, it's like a warning song about how friendship work, especially in the state of fame. But it's not preachy, if that makes any sense. I feel like he's just barring out.
The one that stands out to me is like some come around when they need some money, others make us laugh like the Sunday funnies. Like even at that time, not a lot of people were going to the Sunday paper and digging the funnies. This is kind of like teetering off of that.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that he kind of he brought out his own little part of his past, or at that time would be his present.
You know what's crazy too is like these songs kind of age him, but it's not in an uncool way.
Right. Especially because it's like all sample.
Yeah.
It's all sample. But also he's rapping against the sample on this one too. So, he's rapping off the Friends play, like Friends, and he's rapping off that. So Friends is a term that some people use loosely. I'm real choosy on what I choose to let crew see. But man, listen to how many rhymes he got in that shit, man. That's crazy. Loosely choosy, choose to let crew see. Like all that in a couplet. He rhymed 4 times in a couplet like that. Like it was nothing.
I saw an interview he did where he was asked about this, like, you know, like his style, like of rap, like what is this like? What's his feedback on that? Like, why? Like, why is he doing it the certain way he does? And the way he even describes it is just so cool because he's just like, oh, you know, I never really thought about like, well, I guess if I have to answer that, you know, I follow the sound, you know, I follow the sound. I'm like, that is so dope, dude. Like just the way he describes it, I follow the sound. So like, if he says something cool, like, okay, let me just follow that.
And he
that's
builds
cool.
off of it. Right.
There's even that direct rhyme that you were kind of talking about. It's kind of sort of like a direct rhyme, but it says, read the sign, no feeding the baboon, seeing how they got your backs bleeding from the stab wounds.
Yeah.
So talking about a frame of backstabbing, talking about like, hey, look, this is the warning. You already see your back already been stabbed, so why do you keep on it? Like it's there's several like examples of this, whether whether it be your friends or even family, it's still this, just you got to watch out for the signs.
Friends are potentially bad, according to the song.
Yeah. And you know, because like the original track, I can't remember exactly, but I'm guessing the original track of Friends, it's like more of like promoting, like, oh, friends are good, like friends are good.
But he flipped it backwards. He flipped it on his
like,
head.
Well, hold up, you know, they're not always good. Like this can happen, you know.
But like I said, and it's not preachy though.
Yeah.
So it's not one of those songs where it's like, you guys need to watch your back, blah blah blah. You just like, check out, these are the stories.
Yeah.
It's like vignette stories of what people are like.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like, you know, when you say that's not preachy, like even all these other tracks, they don't come off as preachy either.
Well, one thing I noticed that Doom does, he doesn't use pronouns. Like he and when it comes to like how most MCs spit, I'm the greatest in the room.
Yeah,
I'll kill you. You're whack. I'm better.
It's
you're
so
whack.
common. Yeah.
But his style is the greatest in the room is present. The wackest MC has no chance. He didn't say you're whack. He says the wackest MC. He's not addressing anybody. So a lot of newer artists after Doom, like Earl Sweatshirt and Tyler and them, they pull pronouns out of their style. So when they do that, it makes the subject spread, right? Instead of saying I'm Batman and he's Joker, now you've isolated the subject to me being Batman and that person being Joker. But if you could do it right, like Doom, he can make it sound like he's Batman and Joker in the same bars because he's not identifying himself. So just his writing style in general, he doesn't sound preachy because he's not plugging himself into what he's telling you.
That makes sense.
He's just talking about, you know, people do this, right? Instead of, I don't like the guy in the red shirt that does this. I don't like the guy in the blue shirt that does that. Yeah. Now he's preaching. He's more like red shirt guys do this and that, and the blue shirt guys do this and that, without pointing fingers. I don't know how to explain it better than that, right? Yeah. So instead of saying Gary sucks, it's like Gary type niggas are whack, right?
Or even describing what he's wearing. And
right. Yeah. The guy with the plaid shirt is whacker than, you know, what. So, that's
like
Doom's whole concept. Yeah, it is like Yoda. No, because he doesn't isolate anything.
Yeah.
Like he can diss this putty and he doesn't point at it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's like, he's like the gray and black.
Call him like Rita's goon or something
like Rita's
that.
goon.
Like,
right. The easy chest punch, you know, henchman or something like that, you know. That's how he does it though. He doesn't directly identify his subjects. It's really brilliant.
Yeah, that's super. Because I didn't even really notice that.
Yeah,
but I did notice the fact that he wasn't like coming off like, oh, I got all the answers. But
the villain has all the answers.
Right,
not I have the answers.
Yeah.
Right. So the villain did this, not him.
It's a harder approach to do that in rap too.
It is.
When we use the pronouns and stuff to identify it, it cuts out a lot of lyrics, and you can add it off. It helps people out, even including myself, because you can add more lyrics at the forefront after that.
Yeah.
But just taking out the pronouns, you have to be a little bit more descriptive. So you have to add more words at the beginning of the bar, and now your whole rhyme scheme doesn't
it doesn't get anchored down to an individual point.
Yeah, I was going to say it doesn't. A lot has to change in a sense of a ripple effect, because now it affects everything going down forward. It can affect the point to where you start your chorus, or even to the whole concept of what your verse is. So this being a great example of like him actually eliminating the pronouns makes it more difficult, but he is he's scaling the mountain versus us just taking laps on a treadmill.
Right.
It shows
it's
you
tough.
It shows you.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
I think it shows you the maturity too, then to be able to take yourself out of it, like the I out of it. because it's so easy to fall into that. Like I mean, I'm wondering how many lyrics I have with I or something in it. Like
that's my whole
extends
gimmick.
the life, but it extends the life of the lyrics as well because you make it so vague that all three of us can listen to the same thing and get something different.
Yeah.
Instead of that guy over there did this, it's just the individual did something, and it's like, oh, okay, now we can go into multiple directions.
Yeah.
So he's brilliant.
So the next one we have is
a series of runs. They're just like samples, sample runs.
It's a series of samples.
Poo-poo platter, filet wrapper.
I enjoyed this personally while doing a listen through, just listening through the whole album through. Like I enjoyed the little break.
It's like an intermission. Sure.
It's like an intermission, and you're going through samples. And it's not like you're listening to a bunch of chaos. It's like really, it feels organized in their dialogues when they're talking. But also too, I think what's funny, like what's cool about this is that I don't know if he's trying to be funny or not, but it's funny to me.
I think
the sample he's taking.
I think he's being funny, and I think what it does is it further emphasizes the persona, the character. If you just attempt to listen to it like he's actually really Doom from the comic books making music, the sampling just makes him more brooding and villainous because everything about the samples is only making him look more powerful than you. Like everything that he does, he just emphasizes his strength, what Doom can do, and how nobody can beat him. Because in real life, Fantastic Four can actually beat Doom, but he doesn't use clips where Fantastic Four can win. He's deliberately choosing everything that makes him look like the god. It's like its own propaganda, actually.
Yeah.
So he's like really making
as the villain would do.
Right. No, for real, it's like M. Bison from Street Fighter making you watch his like footage of him,
like
right?
Where Dr. Doom lives, Latveria, he oversees Latveria, and you will not see anything in relation to the outside world.
Right.
Absolutely.
So yeah, to me, it's like we're in his Disneyland, and he's just like, showing propaganda of his world. So yeah, and to me, it doesn't break up the flow of the album. To me, I didn't notice it till today, because I was listening to it earlier, and then today I was like, I just want to do one more run of the album, and I didn't realize that there were this many samples in a row. I didn't pay attention to it. I don't know. I play the album and I don't skip songs. I just I kick back and listen.
They say edible rappers should be able to use or even when the guy was all like, when I use this to get sick to my stomach, it's like he's I'd want to say that it's just that intermission was good for like you need to clean out your system
of all this lyricism.
It could be the bad food that we're consuming, not versus what we have here, but it could be that it's an allusion to the one beer where the wrappers are edible in the sense of like not even to being able to be just drinking, but actual consumed too. I thought that was clever as hell. Like he found a thing that had edible wrappers in it, where there was the wrapper for the food, but it's also the wrappers.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool, man.
Gumbo, he uses a cut from Frank Zappa. Would you like a snack? So he's rhyming with the samples too. So
do you feel like he would have had to search these out to get these, right? Mm-hmm. Or do you think he already knew in the back of his mind, like, oh yeah, I remember this said that?
Well, no, because I know the song that he sampled, and it's on a very obscure instrumental rock album. It's really, but it's Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa's really weird shit. So, this album's really good. So the part of the song that he picked was really obscure. It's just, and then I was like, I know this one, and then I went to look, and it was Frank Zappa. I was like, okay. And Would You Like a Snack? I laughed at the idea that I didn't know the song originally, the name of the song, but I actually know the song. I know because I listened to this album. So when I found the sample, it was Would You Like a Snack? I'm like, oh, he's still going on a food thing. Ah, damn it, what the fuck, man? Like, I didn't know that. I just found that out today. So I was like, damn, how many things did he put in here that's related to the food concept or what he's doing? But yeah, I just love that idea for Gumbo. Gumbo's dope. That one's cool. And then Fig Leaf Bicarbonate, I just put poison.
Wow.
It's poison. That's all I put is just poison. Everything's poison. All the food is poison. So the food being poison is also what the consumers are consuming. So yeah, man, the layers for days. Layers for days. Outstanding, man. To me personally, Mad Villainy is the perfect place to start, but food is like where you can get to learn Doom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's so much to take in here. And I love the play with food and how he keeps going on with it so cleverly. And sometimes you forget like about it, and then you'll hear a word, and then you're like, oh yeah, we're on that theme still. And the way he like, even the one beer like you mentioned, I had no idea he was talking about MC, but
Right.
like how deep that can be, the way he flips that and he's talking about certain things that you don't even know.
Makes you feel stupid as hell.
It makes you feel stupid. Yeah, it does. It makes you feel stupid, man.
Still rhyming on you.
Still rhyming on me, man. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, what would it be like if we had an MF Doom again, like another different type of MF Doom, like now criticizing hip hop, you know, like there's people out here that are smart dudes. Like Kendrick Lamar's a smart dude. Is he Doom though? Not really. But he's a smart dude. But
Doom
like,
is hard to do again.
Yeah, like
Doom to me is like the first phase of Marvel, right? It's like Iron Man all the way till Endgame, and then every rapper after that is like a pale imitation of trying to start over. I don't think anybody can really follow through with the steps that Doom left, simply because it was so unique and fresh and out of the box that we see a lot of rappers now with masks. You know, because I work for lyricology and everything, so a lot of masked rappers, and their mask concept doesn't match Doom's mask concept. Doom is real, like he's really serious. He's wearing that mask for a real reason.
Wears it all the time too.
Yeah, for a real reason.
Let's talk about that.
He's not trying to he's not. I don't believe he's necessarily trying to even hide his identity. He's giving the identity to the mask. The mask is Doom, right? A lot of these artists just are implementing the mask so they don't be seen, you know, so they can keep working at Sizzler. But with what Doom is really doing, I feel like he's not just playing a role. Like he's really doing it. You know, he's really in there. He goes all the way.
When the doppelganger example was used in that Red Bull interview that he was doing, he even said anybody can be Doom.
Right.
And
it's
I'm
the
like,
mask. It's the mask.
So
it's such a dope concept.
So that doppelganger instance, anybody could be Doom. I bet you he felt like that. And you know, you don the mask. It
reminds me of the Joker. You know, the
Todd Phillips one,
Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, okay.
You know how the goons are wearing like the Joker masks. You know, then he kills them off. They all kill each other off one by one or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the beginning of Dark Knight.
These goons are wearing the mask, but it's like who's like when you're waiting for the real Joker, right?
Yeah.
And the real Joker finally reveals himself under it. You know, that's kind of in the sense what I get when you see these doppelgangers out here with the mask. It's like, well, you know, you wonder, is the real Doom under there or not? Like you kind of wonder. But I love the concept about that though, because he took it away at a time when it was all about your look. It was all about what you're wearing. It was all about, you know, the jewelry. It was all about everything except the music. And just the fact that this dude was just so real, and he came out here in the game and was so contrast to what we were seeing, where it was not about the music, and this fool brought it back to the music, and it's like, no, look what I'm dropping here.
Looking past the person.
Cool about it too. It's like just so nonchalant, like under your, just right passing you by, like, yo.
Even his dunks that he came out with, the MF Doom dunks, it was like, I thought about it when he actually released those. I was like, this is commercial as all hell, but the shoe design is not commercial.
Right. It's like, underground as fuck.
It was a very risque design, even on that side. So even with him, even if he just wore those dunks, his attire is like, you'd be surprised if he was without the mask and was just wearing what he's wearing, people would throw change at him, just because of how he didn't give a fuck how he dressed. You know, he had the mask at that point. Oh shit, it's Doom.
He would talk about like he'd be able to like drink a beer before a show and no one would know who he was. Get on the stage, put on the mask, and everybody's like cheering his lyrics and everything. Like,
but he's not just that thing's on all the time. Like he sleeps with that shit, man. He's still wearing it now.
Even during the eulogy, when his wife did the eulogy on his Instagram, the photo was with him in a Knicks jersey, of course, but also with the mask. Yeah. So it's like even the wife was putting over the identity. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Never ever given up like him without it.
Yeah.
Still, it's him. You know, I don't see Zevlov X or anything like that. I see Doom.
Yeah, and even back then too, like, you know, I feel like they were dope. Mm-hmm. You know, KMD, like, they were a dope crew.
Dude, him and
It's just
MF
different.
Grimm is an underrated rapper for sure. When they teamed up on that MF Doom, MF Grimm song, the album artwork where they're playing chess together,
Yeah.
that album's dope.
Yeah. Super dope. And I feel like he legit got some injustice. And like the fact that like they don't let, you know, like when we just talked about like Jizza and now here we're talking about Doom, you know, like I'm just picturing myself in their shoes. Like say you put out an album, you made it, you know, and the next thing you know, you get dropped. Like, man, how much that hurts. Like
At
damn.
that time.
Yeah, not even with the lyrics, but based off of the album artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once you get dropped, it's I would imagine it'd be so hard to climb back up that ladder and try to.
At that time,
try to
yeah.
come back.
That's a one. First of all, you only get one chance to make
Right.
this shot.
Yeah.
Money you borrowed, too.
Yeah.
Especially if your contract worked out like that.
Yeah. One shot. Bow and arrow. 200 feet.
Yeah.
You got to hit the target. Bullseye, too. You have to bullseye the target.
You have
Yeah.
to. You
So
have to.
some arbitrary idea like your stance is the reason you got disqualified. Like, you know, so him coming back is basically just anti-game. He came to break the game. And everything he's done is just he's a villain, but I want to say the idea is he wants to represent hip hop in a way that doesn't necessarily embody a pop artist, but somebody that's
yeah.
taking the concept of lyricism to outside of metaphorical levels.
Yeah.
There's no layer here. The metaphor is simple, right? I'm this comic book character, right? But he kept it going to the point where he actually took it to another level.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like another artist would come into this game wearing Spider-Man's outfit and really would intrigue and move people the way that Doom did, especially because hip hop today doesn't hit our ear the same way compared to what it was back in the day.
Yeah, true.
Because back in the day, we actually were thirsty for this and we wanted to hear more. And the climate of today, I don't know if we
It's
would
volume.
have. Right.
It's volume that we can't.
We're very restless in today's world.
Right.
you know?
And he could be something really unique, like a MC with a holographic mask or some shit.
Yeah.
Some shit you ain't never seen before.
Right.
Some
Yeah.
digital mask or something, right? And he has some really amazing
Darth Vader or
Right,
something,
yeah, some
right?
Darth Vader gimmick, like, you know, and it's real,
and
right?
if we see that, what's the first thing we're gonna think? A rapper donning the mask?
Yeah.
No,
Doing Doom.
As
He's doing the
unique
Doom.
as his approach may be, we see where the trail was blazed. It was blazed with MF Doom through it.
Right.
So even if the style's different, a mass rapper, well, we already know who was very successful at it and went to very crazy lengths to it. So if you want to match that flavor, you wear it all the time. You want to do all that. You want to half step it, you'll get called out.
It's like the Prestige.
True.
Remember the Prestige? They were like explaining one of the magicians they were watching, and he's like, that sucks. His magic trick requires this guy had to walk a certain way for the rest of his life for a magic trick to work. And he's like, am I willing to make that sacrifice to jeopardize the way I walk to make the trick work? Right. And that's what Doom looks like to me. It's like he's willing to wear this mask and really personify this dude and really live it that way. He has such his perspective as an artist under the Doom persona. I don't think it can be done twice. I don't think it can happen again.
Someone said something pretty interesting. They said I think it was one of the A&R people that worked with Doom. They said that it was like Doom died 3 times because his first death was, I believe, with his brother passing, and then the second death was when he got dropped from the label, and then his third death was his actual true death. It was like he took took that 3 times, and still this guy was so creative. He also MF Doom talked about kind of his thought process to how he came back, and he was saying that he goes, I don't know, man. He goes, I asked myself the same question. He goes, really though, if I have to answer that, he was like, it was just the creativity in me. The creativity in me just made me want. He goes, I'm a perfectionist, man. I'm constantly into science and all this crazy stuff, and just I don't know, it's just the creative juices in me just, made me want to go.
But he knew what the Hadron Collider was? Come on now.
Yeah.
How you know what Hadron Collider was back in the 90s? Come on, man. That don't even make sense. Just the level of knowledge that this man shared is out of this world. So what'd y'all think of Cone Cardi?
Let's see. Cone Cardi. Oh, yeah. What do you think about that one, Mark? I didn't have a chance to really go through to that one, to be honest.
It's you know, the production is just the piano interplaying with the bass line.
Yeah, with the Sade, I think it was a Sade sample. I believe.
Doom, doom. The bass line is one of my favorite
yeah.
parts of the song.
I thought
The bass line is fire.
I thought it was dope. It kind of gave me like a jazzy feel, which
but
I know he's into jazz.
I don't know. It reminds me of.
I think we're missing Con Queso. Con Queso is it before?
Con Queso's after Coke Carter. It's after.
Oh, it's after? Got it.
Yeah. Wilder than the Nile, hold power like the great pyramids of Giza and stay leaning like the Tower of Pisa. Come on, man. Like, shit like this was
that was
like...
a hard bar.
Naming big structures.
Right, but like ancient structures, you know, the Great Pyramids and the Leaning Tower of Pisa are two monuments that can't even be defined clearly. You know, these are architectural marvels, and he has this all done in a damn couplet. And that's the type of shit that Doom can do to your brain. Because a couplet might just be all he wrote for this one little sequence, or it can be part of the whole theme of the song.
Dang, dude.
How he busts lyrics is too futuristic for ballistics and far too eccentric for forensics.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's like the first time he really like put on the lyrical miracle kind of rap.
Right, but he, you know, he does it with his,
But it catches you
his
by
swing.
surprise.
Right, he does it with his swing. So this track in particular, it's like one of those, you know, you can have that on repeat. The quotables will pop out on their own though, because he's just hitting you with them.
I forgot about that line, dude. Because I remember when I first heard that too on the listen through, I was just like, dude, let me rewind that. Because you're right, like, you know, stuff like that, you know, makes you like, I don't know, just the words, the different things that he just brings up. And the visuals of it,
God
like
bars,
the
man.
marvel
God
of it,
bars, yep.
you know, all of that combined, it's just sick. Man, I need to go back and like get more into that one.
Yeah, hop on that one. That was the one. That one's you know, that's lyrical souffle.
Is that they were saying that is that a tribute as well to his late brother? Which
I don't think so. No.
They said that saying that it was here. They're saying that this track is attributed to, or like it's a tribute to his late brother too.
The other rhyme I was looking on, you could see where he sets it all up. In a bizarre phenomenon is your armor on. Take your cash karma or break your fast Ramadan transaction drama. Oh, come on, Barney. Like, clack, clack, pardon me, whack rap con carne. The guy gives you a lot within the 4 or 5 bars with that. And you're still trying to be like, oh, wait, who the fuck's Barney?
Right.
Damn, like so not even that, but it's like break your fast Ramadan. Oh man, it's really good. Really good lyricism there.
Witticism.
And yeah, the gentleman is extremely witty when it comes to that. Especially me in 2004, I wasn't, me interpreting that, I was very more into people directly telling me lyrics and double meanings and stuff, like surface level double meanings. And at my age, being there, I was 14, 15. So I got a few things here and there, but listening to this it was a whole lot to take in, hence the replayability, especially at my young age, trying to figure all that out. The more educated you got, the more stuff uncovers. It's kind of like a treat. The more you end up figuring stuff out on your own, the more you can come back to good songs like this and a couple of other examples within the album and be like, wow, yeah, this is, now I get it.
It's a gobstopper.
Like he meant this too. Like,
yeah, it's a gobstopper.
Oh my God.
And then the line, I can't take the street out of the street person. That's a dope line too. This track, I feel like I have to kind of go back and sit back onto.
Yeah, that's
there's
one.
So
it
much,
might breeze past you. I ain't gonna lie.
There's
It's one of those ones that might just go right past you.
And there's so much in his album here. It's so dense. Like I get lost so much in his other lyrics he's already done now. Yeah. Like I'm trying to play catch up with him.
Yeah, no, that's another thing.
Even that street person bar you mentioned too is like the one before it. He's like, and even if he had a pot, he'd piss on the sidewalk. Yeah. You know, the saying goes, you know, like it's so
Wouldn't
broke you don't have a pot to piss on.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The one thing about Doom early on, I think a lot of when you try to force Doom into somebody's palette, Doom will sound like mumbles because he's like so dense with the patterns and the rhymes. I remember I was trying to get some people to listen to him, like students and stuff, right? And they was like, "What do I start with Doom?" And I tried to get them to listen to this in Mad Villainy, and they're like, you mentioned, they'll hear one bar, and then like for the rest of the verse, they're gone. They don't, because they're still trying to catch that one line.
Yeah.
So it's like they'll miss the whole like maybe 8 or 9 bars after that one punchline they like,
Yeah.
and then they don't run the song back. They just let it play.
Yeah.
So I learned that a lot of people with Doom, if there's such a dense amount of bars being shot out, you might catch 1 or 2 by hand, and then the rest you just go numb. So real lyricists, when you sit and like really let it run and have that bitch on loop, you'll keep catching more. But I don't think realistically you can get it all in one go. It's not possible. Like, especially on this track, you can't get it all in the first go.
It does
Trust
it
and believe.
injustice if you think you can, I think.
If you believe you can, you're a cocky asshole, because that's not the point. The point is, I think even Doom referenced that in the Red Bull interview. He's like, it's a lot of writing. You know, to compile all these ideas, he has to do a whole different book of information before he even puts it in the verse, because he might have to find what connects to what thematically links to what. I might still have to have the food theme going, and then I gotta see what some street theme is connected to the food theme. He was writing like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, the blueprint on that sounds crazy.
You know, I was gonna say the thing about MF Doom 2 I want to mention is like this dude's a writer. Like, you know, not only is he MC, producer, all these other things, this dude's also a mad writer. You know, just taking that into thought, like in a time, you know, especially too, like a lot of MCs that are in the industry even are not really writing their own stuff, and we kind of, you know, overlook that. But this dude is not only is he writing his own stuff, like this dude's a writer.
Writer.
This dude could write a book or a comic or whatever he wanted to write. He could write anything, script, a movie, whatever he wanted to write.
That would have been dope to have a rhyming comic from.
Imagine that. That would have been pretty sick. So I just appreciate that so much of what he gave us. He didn't compromise his lyrics. You know, that was something about MF Doom, is like, he's going to give you some real food. Like he's saying in this album, he's going to give you the real good stuff. There's no compromising here. You know, even though like Andre was saying, like you could maybe miss a lot of the things that he's saying because he's saying so much, but usually when that happens, I feel like in most cases that means that there's something they're saying there. You know, when you listen to a MC who's spitting something you don't get right away, to me, most of the times that means that they're spitting something.
No, you got something to come back for.
Yeah,
like I said, it's like Christopher Nolan.
Yeah,
it is like Christopher Nolan. We always joke about Christopher Nolan, but it is like Christopher Nolan. It's just the level of expectation of you to do your homework. It shows blatantly, you know. But what'd you think of Guinness's?
Oh yeah, no, Guinness's was, I think, the one I was talking about, which was like the Sade sample, I believe. Oh no, this one, he's not even on it, right?
No, it's Four Eyes and Angelica, but he produced it, so he's technically Doom's essence.
Yeah, this one, I wouldn't call it a skip, but it was.
Who's Angelica, anyways?
This one was
that was the only time I've heard from her on that end. So I don't know if she had other credits on other songs or whatever, but she had a good setup in the beginning. You know, stress, frustration, empty rhetoric, cold as winter in Connecticut, compassion, lack, and deficit. That stuff right there. It's a good example of, like, you get a bunch of multi layers and stuff from MF Doom, and then you get a break from the norm.
Yeah,
and then you actually
what
get lyrics more generalized, I guess.
What do you guys think about that? Like, say you're doing your album, Andre or Mark, you guys are doing your guys' own album or whatever. What do you think about that? Like, in an album or a project, you know, do you think it's cool to maybe not be on a track entirely and produce?
They got to be fire though.
Yeah,
that happens rarely though.
It's to put someone over.
Yeah.
You know,
someone over for sure.
I thought of Obi Trice. Obi Trice, like a great example of some dude that they would just give him a verse on random albums, and he would just appear. Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah, Obi Trice.
Obi Trice.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, Obi Trice, that was actually how I found him, right? Yeah. And he turned out to be phenomenal MC. But
yeah.
And then Wayne, he had for the Carter 3, I think or the Carter 4, he did this thing where he did a posse cut, but he wasn't on it. and he broke it into 3 different songs. So it wasn't a long ass posse cut that was like 10 minutes. He broke it into small pieces, and he gave everybody their own space. So he had Tech Nine and Andre 3000 on their part together, and then he had like Bun B and somebody. But he had the whack ones on one end, and then he had the super lyricists on one, and then Wayne was by himself. Wayne was by himself on one part, so I was like, okay. So that was the only time I saw like somebody majorly do that, like super major level. He just had everybody else spit their shit on the same beat, but he wasn't on it.
And even on this song on Guinness's, Angelica's pretty much doing the MCing because Four Eyes is the one that just does the chorus.
Do you guys think she was actually like she did pretty dope?
I liked her. I liked a couple of bars that she had. She got the concept of the whole song, like what message she was trying to portray on that.
I was whatever about it.
Honestly, I liked.
I skipped this one, man.
I should have deaded it from Genesis instead of hitting the Guinnesses. Now I'm free falling, cursing at the street, balling. He sees calling. Like that's I like the storytelling in it.
Well, there's something dope. Like we're living in a time now where I feel like MCing is all about the women right now. It's like their time to shine right now.
Oh my God, yeah.
There's a lot of tracks that are being redone even and flipped that were more, I would say, more like manly, for lack of better terms, that are kind of flipped more on the feminine side now. Which it's an interesting time that we're in as far as hip hop, because this is prime time for a women MC who are actually dope, that are coming out and spitting. And, you know, even myself, like I'm working on an album too. And I'm thinking like, man, it'd be so dope to have a female rapper spit on one of these tracks, just because, you know, it's different. Like when you hear a female MC who's dope, like MC Light or Lauryn Hill, or it's just, I don't know. It's just not so common, I guess.
A female can say things a male can't.
True.
And if they're a lyricist, they can say some really interesting things.
There you go. Yep. There you go. All right. So we'll move on to the next track. Then we got
Con Queso, baby.
Queso. Now, finally,
damn,
this
beat is amazing.
This is the one with the Sade sample.
This beat is crazy.
This beat is so sick. Now, this was the one I was saying that has it for me. It feels like jazz influences. I know MF Doom's been famous to say like he doesn't listen to hip hop as much, but he listens to all these other kind of music. I think jazz is in the category of the type of music he likes. I definitely feel that in this track here. And the beat itself makes me feel like I'm in a lounge, like in New York or something, like nighttime city life. That's the feelings it gives me.
Wait, I think you got them switched up then, because this one's the one that sounds like you're in a bar or something chilling. That's the previous one. This one. Give me a sec for the pain to start. Or give me a give it a sec for the pain to start. This right here ain't for the faint of heart.
Oh, it's a different one.
Yeah. The one you were describing was the other one. Yeah, that's the one you were talking about.
Okay. Thanks for correcting.
Yeah, this one. This is the one is different. This beat is crazy. Doom 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 doom.
If we see tomorrow, the next day class is the villain in the back with the X-ray glasses.
This one's crazy.
Trying to remember the beat on this one. I'm gonna have to go back on this one.
It starts like that.
Frown like the first time you taste couscous, stash the deuce, troops asking truce. Yeah. This is a hard ass rhyme to pull off. Once again, perfect. It's not slanted. Everything
figuring
is oos. Like that sound is hard to match twice in a row, and then to tell a story in that small amount of time. This is the shit I'm talking about as far as his rhyme is concerned. Like cats would try to do Doom style, but they have to rhyme perfectly, and they don't get perfect rhymes. Mm-hmm. If you say Lucy, you have to match Lucy. You can't use any other sounds.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. So frown like the first time you taste couscous, like you have a rhyme for couscous.
Yeah.
Stash the deuce, troops asking truce. So all that it's crazy. It's crazy how he pulled this one off. As far as this beat and how he ran this one, man, I think this is like this might be the best song, or not the absolute
even
best
the
song,
tempo. The tempo's up. This is one of the songs where he's rapping the fastest.
Feeling like the tinge in your ear from drinking ginger beer.
Like
have no fear, the ninja here.
and I like that because he's in this song in particular. It's like, man, he stepped it up. He even stepped up the lyrics in a sense too. the slower songs, he's able to explain stuff a lot more, but in a weird way too, he still was able to be as descriptive as well. And that's a unique ability, and a lot of MCs either are one tempo or they're just the other, they're high or low. Yeah. And right here, it's like, hey, watch me do both and do both with the equal amount of style as either one.
Say ho if you never worked at J.O. and keep more cash in a stash than a peso. Yeah. So it's like, come on, man. Like, butter.
This track
butter.
is cool to
it's
the overall album, you know, especially because now you get to the point when you're talking about cheese. I mean, that's something that can be flipped and the double meaning of that. And it's also something that's usually in addition to, you know, to your food. And in this case, it's an additional attribute to this album, adding the cheese onto the album itself. So another, I think, dope addition to this album, and the way he can flip it to not only to the food reference, but also to the street as well.
And this may even be the last time someone's ever referenced Steve McQueen, a 60s actor, Steve McQueen, in any lyric in hip hop. It's like, see him on the big screen like Steve McQueen, do something and never be back once he leaves the scene. Steve McQueen was always doing like the movie Bullet. Yeah. He was always just doing like crazy action flicks where he's always in a race car. So it's a nice allusion to Steve McQueen, the actor.
Handling action.
And in even bringing back seeds of like old theater. Come see him on the big screen, Steve McQueen. Yeah, like the announcements like that. Yeah, and letting him know, watch him before he leaves the scene.
I love that.
Literally the scene of a movie.
References things that like aren't typically referenced. Like I like that.
Okay, that's another thing. All right, there you go. The being unique as an artist, right? You know, so two things that we got from Doom. He's holding homage to actual hip hop by rhyming perfectly, and then the concept is simple, right? Like, I'm hot as the sun, right? Everybody has said this. So him as a writer and an artist, he's like, well, what is the most unique way to embody something hot?
Yes.
So he will say, I'm hot as the ending of a weird movie reference, right? And you're like, well, I don't know this movie, and you might watch it and you see the ending and go, what? Oh, the guy blew up and he's on fire, right? Yeah. Or, you know, like Ong Bak's kick. Oh, you know your boy on fire like the Ong Bak kick. And you're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Did you see the dude do the flaming Ong Bak kick? You're like, okay, I get it. So, you know, as a writer, that's where they get these unique angles. Artist I'm thinking of in my head is Open Mike Eagle. Really dope rapper, right? And his rhymes and his punches are always so left field that it's like, because he's heavily influenced by Doom. So a lot of his rhyme patterns are so off the edge that it's like, where did you even think of these words to connect them? I think he said, like, I whispered in monotone that I take your sister to Monaco or some shit like that. Like, but the ideas are like, he has these backwards ass patterns because he doesn't want to rhyme animal with random flow, right? Yeah. He wants to do something unique. So he's like compartmentalization. He's rhyming stuff like that because he knows there aren't MCs that rhyme on that level. So just like Doom typically doesn't go down that rhyme path that you expect him to. Or if he's doing a rhyme that you know is coming, he'll break a syllable on purpose. So it seems like it makes it look like he made a mistake.
I've seen you do.
On the breakdown, I'm like, okay, so he was rhyming perfect, and he just deliberately messes up a syllable.
Put up road spikes in the middle of.
No, that's what it feels like. And because he's making fun of people like me, he is. Yeah. Doom makes fun of me because I mean, as a real MC, we got to study these guys. So he's so good when you're studying him, he's fucking with you, right? Yeah. So he might flip a rhyme on you. He might start a rhyme pattern and then flip the rhyme pattern backwards halfway through the verse later, and you don't know. So yeah, this one right here though, he's just going ham. He's going ham on this track.
You know what I love about what we're doing is it's actually helping myself too, because going into these guys like Jizza, we went Slim Shady, and now we're doing MF Doom. It's like just helping me see their approaches to writing, and I've noticed, dude, I'm writing more smoother just because I don't know what it is, but just from after like looking at these guys' albums and stuff and the way that they're doing things, like it's just helping me.
I got you.
It's crazy.
I call it the Think and Grow Rich effect. Have you heard of this book from Napoleon Hill?
No.
I'll keep it short. It's essentially a millionaire tells this broke guy, hey, you want to make some money? I want you to go around the world and interview my millionaire friends, but I won't pay you for this. I won't pay you a dime. But I want you to do it. I think he said, I'll pay for your flights. That's it. So, of course, by the end of his journey of interviewing all these millionaires, by osmosis, he becomes a millionaire. Simply because he's around the frequency of people that are that rich, and they all have similar mindsets. So same deal. Is just when you're studying MCs and you're breaking down what they're doing, it's like being engaged with that artist. Yeah. So I got lucky just from the show I'm doing, but in reality, the more I listen to the artist and I break it down, the more history I'm gaining. Right? When I sat down with Jizza, I'm like, damn, it's like the beginning of this technology that people are using. Yeah. Doom is the same thing. You'll be breaking them down. Like popular Operation Doomsday. Operation Doomsday is like we're getting bits of this new tech, but it hasn't been refined yet. This is the album where it's like he has the technology. He knows his shit. He knows what it does. It's like Iron Man. It's like the first suit. When you see the primitive old ass suit of Iron Man, it just looks like a tin fucking. It looks like a toaster.
With what he had, he was just like, oh man.
Like, how did you even walk in that thing, right? And to me, this one, it feels like the suit is more refined. It has attention to detail that we didn't see before. And then everything after that is just, he expands even further. But this is like the apex. This is when it happens, like the very beginning of this whole explosion. Operation Doomsday does count, okay? I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it feels like Terminator 2. Like, this does feel like Terminator 2.
Yeah. I feel like he accomplished exactly what he wanted with this. To me, I feel like he did. Just because it feels so thorough. From the theme to the production to the rhymes to the samples. Go.
This line here, right? They thought they saw the worst verse from the team of G-men who seemed like nerds at first, right? So if you're still following the Doom concept, he's going off of how they were formed, right? It was a team of G-men. On the black side, right, is the gangster men, right? Yeah. But on the white side, the nerdy side, is a team of God men, right? A team of God men that seem like nerds at first. The nerds would be Fantastic Four and Dr. Victor, and then they all became gods. So all that from this little couplet, right? Yeah. So you have to have all this context of who he is as an artist, and then you have to take him seriously as an artist to even go further into his metaphors. Because if you just said he's a guy in a mask, then you're not even going to go into the Doom side of his layers. Yeah. There's a Marvel side of like what he's doing, and it's consistent. Like he keeps it going. The only other guy I think that keeps that like consistently is Aesop Rock, and he stays with the Aesop fable thing. And that's all the animals in his stories. So all of Aesop's music has a reference to an animal still. He's still doing it to this day. I'm like, you're still Aesop Fables?
So you're saying that, like, okay, yeah, so you're saying it crosses albums of what he's doing?
Yeah, because Aesop's Fables is all of his stories are based off of animal, like he's using animals to tell the tales, but the animals are metaphors for people in real life. So Aesop Rock took that concept and just applied it to his lyrical style, and now he's Aesop, right? So Doom is doing the exact same concept. He's like, Doom is fucking amazing if you understand his powers, right? I mean, so nowadays somebody would be like Goku. What can Goku do, right? And then I embody what Goku is, right? And then I make that my lyrical style. Yeah. But what I believe, and I'm going to keep reiterating, is I think he really took it to that level, to where it's not a mask. He's really embodying the villainous behavior of this character. So if he's actually Doom and he's writing bars, it makes his bars hit that much harder. Like, be goofy about it. Like, really pretend Victor Doom is actually that he's actually really the real villain from the Marvel comics, and he's really a rapper. Like, just try it one day and see how amazing his shit sounds. It's hilarious.
Go ahead.
Oh, and then the other rhyme that I'd want to point out too is like, if I had a dime for every rhymer that busts guns, I'd have a cool mill for my sons and trust funds. So it's millions of dollars for every dime that someone referenced.
Just a gun alone.
The gun alone. It's just one dime at a time. He'd have a cool meal for both of his kids set aside.
That's dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's innovation.
Yeah. I do love like this dude's critiques because he's just so cool about it. His delivery is just so smart and witty, dude. I feel like Doom, we fell in love with this anti-villain, like, before it was cool. Like, now it's cool to, like, love the villain. Like, Joker, like, it's all about the Joker rather than the Batman or whatever. It's, like, it's cool now, but, like, this dude was doing it then, like, where it was just, like, we loved this villain. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, like, he's a cool guy. He says, like, I'm a cool guy. I'm like, I'm really cool to get along with. People think I'm this villainous guy because I'm not really like a bad guy or anything. It's just, it's just cool how people do get it though. Like, when I want to write as that character, and that's not even his only character either. On top of that, he has other characters.
Oh man, we got to go. Yeah, we can't even go into the other ones, man. We got to stick with Doom today for how diverse this guy is. We might have to cover more from him. Yeah, honestly.
All right, so we'll go into the next track, which is one of
the
funniest
rap snitches.
Funniest tracks, and we were talking about this one earlier.
Hell of a chorus,
I'm right
too.
here.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Have the label sent up for years.
Because it's true. Like, it's at a time when and I think we've seen comedy skits on this too. I think Keenan Peele did one where he's like on his rap record.
I shot him with a 9.
I shot him. The gun's over here. I hit him in my back of my trunk.
No, he's like, I shot him with a 9 on September 9th. I shot him 9 times. Like,
oh God,
all the details.
Yeah, no, for real.
And he comes into the interrogation room and he's like, I know you did it. You said it here. This is my evidence. He goes, nah, man, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Those are just words. Those just words, detective. No, he's like, those are just words, detective. Arranged in a dope order. I couldn't have done it, detective. I have an alibi. And then he's like, oh, do you? And he plays it. He's like, I have an alibi.
I'll say I have an alibi, but it's all a lie.
Yeah. Yo, yeah, I'll show you that one, man. That shit is fire. But yeah, that's kind of like the concept in itself is, it's a documented record, your song.
Yeah.
And you're claiming to be a drug kingpin, murdering everyone in your. I was like,
the laptop.
It's begun.
The studio's like,
it's power. It's telling us, kicking us out.
Yeah. So our studio time's up in this rental.
Our demo. This is the demo studio. But yeah, man. No, but yeah, the concept is simple, man. These cats are rapping about, completely being destructive forces in the world, and they blatantly are recording themselves doing so. So I think it's the concept is funny, man. It's just turning hip hop on its head and being a contrarian.
Exactly.
And just riding that wave of anti-pop rap.
In the first verse, actually explaining how the whole thing went down. And ended up getting dimed out. Caused the man to go up north. The ball hit him again. Lame rap snitch. Even told on the Mexican. So probably the dude that drove, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly.
What role did the Mexican have to do with that? But, it's when we were talking about this earlier, gentlemen. We had the funny idea that MF Doom kind of predicted that there'd be actual rap snitches.
Literally,
mainly, I'd say the most important one, because there's probably a bunch of other ones, but Tekashi 6ix9ine just dimed out the whole label, and
just dimed out the whole city.
Yeah, and just gave out whatever information for more freedom.
And Tekashi 6ix9ine was the most loudest too. And it's like
he is the rap. He is the rap.
He embodies the whole concept.
I think. At one point when he got out, he was marketing himself as a rat. Like he made himself a cartoon. Like a cartoon character, and he was a rat. Yeah, no, he's tripping, man. He's tripping. Yo, yeah,
I am who I am.
Yeah, no, because he's like he made it a cartoon rat. He almost made it look like Mickey, but he's a rat because he snitched on people. So he knows what he's doing. He's just pissing people off. But he literally is the rap snitch. Yeah. You feel me? He is the rap snitch.
Yeah. What do you feel about that, Andre? Like Tekashi 6ix9ine? Do you
wrestling?
Think, do you think he's smart for doing that and making money?
Wrestling. It's wrestling. I mean, if I could really say that this rap game is like the WWE, without a doubt, he is the best example of somebody that should have been destroyed by now. He should have been destroyed for what he's done.
Like I say Eminem should took him out or something.
No, not in regards to rap. As in life. I mean, and in all honesty, I mean, this shit is serious. That's real serious business.
He's not even worth Eminem's time. I feel like.
Well, no. I mean, in regards to what he as an individual has done, is like you teamed up.
Dudes up.
You like Pac though. You teamed up with a whole crew of gangsters, and this is like the first time I've seen the entire entourage go in, and he leaves, and nobody else leaves but him. Yeah. And nobody else has done anything to him. He's blatantly standing on the streets, but this is what I'm saying. This is what we're doing. We're talking about him now, right? That's his power. His power is, to me, a joker. He is a joker where he just can do whatever he wants, and they're not going to hurt this guy. Yeah. And all we're going to want to see is him getting hurt, and it's not going to happen. but he's the most rap snitch I've seen. You know, there's rap guy, this is rap snitch for sure, like without a question. I couldn't like anybody like 6ix9ine to me. They're perpetuating what we believe the idea of gangster rap should be, and he literally is the opposite of a gangster rapper because he's destroyed the entire personification of being the killer with the gang members and the drugs and all that shit. And he blatantly snitched on the whole squad, and he walks away scot-free, and he's not a snitch. Apparently, he's not a snitch. He just walks away and nobody attacks him. So I don't know how that works. That's wrestling to me. That's wrestling to me. How do you walk out and nobody just, you know?
That's a good analogy.
The extended clip with the silencer on the silencer, I thought he would have been taken out by now, you know? But it is what it is.
The Doom's opening verse is true. There's rules to the shit. Fools dare care. Everybody want to rule the world with tears for fear. Yeah. Tell them on the mountain hill, running up their mouth bill. Everybody doubting still. So basically, shout out to Tears for Fear with their song "Everybody Wants to Rule the World." And I also like the fact that like you're running up your mouth bill. As far as like just you said enough. You said enough to like just put us all away for a long time.
You got to pay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Vomit's Pit. This one, I needed some help on the refresher.
Vomit's Pit. I never heard it that way before. Vomit's Pit.
I need a refresher on this one myself.
It's just the lyrics that you'd hear. I'm thinking it's a touch on mainstream lyricism. Mm-hmm. You hear it in your Jeep sometime. You know when that's an Easter egg to Missy Elliott's. Who got his? She mentions the Jeep. Oh my gosh, who got the keys to the Jeep?
Missy Elliott.
Yeah, who got the keys to the Jeep? You hear that, hear it in the sleep sometime, blare it in your Jeep so people can stare at them rhymes. You have it really loud, but it's kind of like the phrase diarrhea mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But in this instance, it's the vomit of it.
So, like in other words, like you're getting like the real hymn. I'm gathering of it, like whether it's. I think he says
it's just stuff you can't stand because even in later on the line, he's like, he'd rather eat a sandwich salad.
Yeah.
It might need salt like your man's bland ballad, which is the song that he's listening to. He'd rather do a lot more things than listen to that. And that is a really good structure of a bar, too. He'd rather eat a sandwich salad. It might need salt like your man's bland ballad. So playing with the S's at least in the middle part, but then going really hard at the bland ballad, sandwich salad. Mm-hmm. That stuff, that's the shit I like.
There's a part where he says the good, the bad, and the ugly in here, too. I'm trying
to say,
Oh, rake it, take it, like the good, the bad, the ugly. Break it rolling through your hood in the caddy buggy.
Caddy buggy. Come on. Yeah. Good, bad, and ugly caddy buggy. Like the patterns, man. The patterns.
But I think you're right, Mark. He's talking about the mainstream and how he's not like your I don't know, like your typical, I guess, gimmick rapper. He's going to give you the real him, whether that's the good, the bad, the ugly of that. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'm gathering out of this track.
Sing it, bring it back to the laboratory while he's in his oratory, glorious like a horror story.
Wow,
the mask is like Jason. They told the place not to let the basket type case in. So it's like mask is like Jason, basket type case in. Like he's nice, man.
Yeah, don't let him escape.
Like, he's fucking crazy, man. And that's what it is. If I could detail that, he's so good at the rhyme patterning that you don't know that he's like rhyming really large sets of syllables. They think he's rhyming. Like typically for those that are uninitiated that don't really do this kind of stuff, a lot of people think that when you get to the end of the bar, you're supposed to rhyme like 1 or 2 syllables, but Doom would rhyme up to 8 to 10, and that's like all the way to the beginning of the sentence to the end of the sentence. But yeah, man, very fucking refined rhymer, dude. So refined.
All right, so we'll move on to the last one, and that's cookies.
Cookies? Well, they had the Cookie Monster in that one too.
Yeah.
So he makes reference to different cookies. There's Oreos, wafers,
Little Debbie the brand.
Yeah.
It says he also,
And this is like the dessert at the end.
yeah, exactly. So
it's the last joint.
it's the
something
last joint.
sweet.
Yep, something sweet. So it's perfect or fitting that this one's going to be called Cookies, and the play on that. He also talks about internet porn on this one. It says getting caught by his wife.
Thinking about the last time I split your wishbone, a man can only wish you do the same till he get home.
Yeah.
And I love this too. So the cookies they're saying is a double entendre for edible cookies, but also the HTTP version, like cookies like through the internet.
Yeah.
Again, the cookies. So that's a cool play on that too. Man, that's very witty to really think about how you can.
You got to consider this time.
You could flip.
Please consider the time.
You know,
I feel like if you listen to some people today, that's another thing. You ask if we could do a Doom thing today, right? It would be a visual gimmick over the skill of the artist. Because if we look at Doom back then, it was when we heard it for the first time and we were refined hip hop connoisseurs, he was doing shit we weren't ready for. We were like, whoa, man, finally, like this is so refreshing, you know? Artists today, I feel like we would consider them to cheat or have some help, you know? And I don't want to say something stupid like AI helped me write the song, but it's like we might not give the newer artists the same credit that we gave Doom because Doom didn't have, we'll say, the same cheats that people have today.
The same advantages.
At all. Yeah. So we going off the knowledge. And that's what hip hop was about in the early 90s. To me, at one point, was about regurgitating a knowledgeable concept or subject and passing it down.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the way I put it together in my head. But Doom was doing the new tech.
No, I love how you always come back to that because we're talking about these albums that were put out, you know, back then, almost like 20 plus years now.
Yeah.
You know, and you're right. That we have to take into consideration when we look back at these albums. We have to think of that time that this was put out.
What the fuck is a Hadron Collider?
Yeah, not today's time. Because today's time, everything's at our fingertips.
Defined.
Yeah, everything's at our fingertips. And you mentioned even AI. Like even AI's, we're on the fingertips of AI now, which is going to even push it even further. But you're talking about in a time when, you know, we didn't have all those advantages. MF Doom is on this tip. Like,
what's going to happen when AI starts getting MF Doom's lyrics? You imagine like the most artificially intelligent MF Doom software that's just like, you thought 5 meanings were deep.
They're gonna start.
There's 18 meanings in 4 bars. MF Doom.
8 novels
Super
of information.
Doom. The
8
super
novels.
villain Doom. Because even
they're gonna be like, AI can't define how I'll be dropping these.
Exactly.
Because AI is gonna get full circle, but with him, what MF Doom did with what I really like is when rappers start describing the instruments that they use to like write with. A workaholic with a fountain and the ink pen. Yeah, out in the mountains and I stopped drinking again. Like, I like the fact that he's letting you know, hey, I got tons of rhymes in here, and I'm gonna be able to use. And I'm sober up in the mountains. Yeah. Like, there ain't no stopping me. Like that to me is just.
I was thinking about that too. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should like do an Airbnb somewhere nice, like that. Just write, like a couple of days, just write.
I got you out
like
in the
that.
Alps somewhere.
Yeah, you know, like do it MF Doom style.
Uber to the Alps. To the Himalayas, please.
I'm all like, yeah, to the Alps, yeah. I'm
just slide him a 20. Yeah, take me to the Himalayas.
Head combust because I wasn't ready for the Himalayas.
Yeah.
The altitude.
The air's too fresh.
Forgot your oxygen tank.
I can't breathe. All that just to write some rhymes. I can't breathe.
Got guys with backpacks passing you up while you're like, that's mad bliss right there.
Yeah, super.
And look how long we just dug into that with those just the 2 bars there.
Just swimming in
it's
there,
just,
right?
You guys saw Lord of the Rings, right? So remember when Frodo looks into that lake and just saw it takes a look into that lady's eyes and just dumps into the water.
Yeah.
We can equally get that same kind of we can get entrenched in that the same way we do with Doom's lyrics. We just look at a couple bars and, oh man, we're deep. Oh dang, we're in it now.
Yeah.
Like we were just trying to go surface level. Now we're like subterranean. Like we're with James Cameron in the Titanic type shit now. All because of these bars. But it's just it's a great testament to this gentleman. The most important thing about all this is, in closing with like what we have with MF Doom as a whole, it's unfortunate to even know this, but his business partner is still holding his rhyme book according to his wife, and we were all talking about it. And Andre mentions to me, he's like, yeah, the guy has all the answers. I'm all like, no, like he doesn't have the answers because MF Doom's gone now. Right. I don't imagine that a rhyme book's gonna have footnotes explaining just in case someone reads this.
Right. These are
no one's fucking reading my rhyme book. Hell no. Like unless I'm gone. But the other thing, it's like the answers are there, but the man asking the questions is no longer here.
The Riddler is gone.
Yeah, so it's like unless MF Doom has like this crazy treasure map that props out of the fucking lyric book to find the deciphering code.
You never know. And if you guys don't know, you should watch the first episode of season 4 of Atlanta. There's an episode that pays homage to Doom.
Sick.
And it's fucking fire. It's fire. They basically just show you how his lyrics work. Like when he died, they basically made it look like he left gems after he died, and he left
cool,
basically a bunch of like a treasure hunt to find out what he was saying after he died. So yeah, check that shit out. Atlanta season 4 episode 1. Y'all love it. Y'all love it.
All right, so three tracks out of here that you would take as your top.
Beef Rap, Con Carne, and
Okay, so
the other one was going to be Hoe Cakes.
For real?
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay. What about you, Andre?
Yeah, beef rap, 1 beer. Yeah, there we go. Beef rap, 1 beer, con queso.
Yeah.
Man, I hate to copy.
I don't know how I forgot 1 beer for a second.
I hate to copy. Yeah, beef rap for me as well.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna say Potholders and 1 beer.
All right.
Different Potholders. I don't know why, dude. I love those beats that feel like you can loop forever.
That's con queso, man. That one feels like it can go on to the end of time.
Yeah.
That's the one. And then 1 beer is just set in stone.
Yeah.
Set in stone forever. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like just doing the drums just for that.
Yeah.
And then
This album,
the way he fits right in between all these instruments,
It's
you know,
perfect.
his
It's perfect.
his voice box is the instrument on this. Man,
He builds it up with it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which is the beginning.
Perfect.
It's an honor to cover MF Doom. It really is. And I can't wait till we cover more of his projects down the line. Food has really blessed me to go through each track and to soak it all in. And there's still so much more to soak in. There's so much subconscious this guy just spilled out in this album that there's more gems in there. I know, there's still to uncover.
Looking back at what we said about the lyrics and the MF Doom being gone himself, maybe that's what like hip hop needed. We don't need all the answers to what he was saying, because now we have multitude of interpretations, and I think with that brings immortality to him. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the parts about the beauty about all this. There's still a silver lining at this dark cloud of his passing.
He's Prince level, and when I say that, it's like how people would perceive Prince as androgynous and unusual, and when you see him on stage, he's like alive. He's this creature,
You see this aura with him.
Right, you see his aura. And to me, Doom did a hip hop variation of that appearance. And I think the artistry and what he was as a person, for him to become art and to align himself with this style of not only music, but a way to present himself as an individual. That's a big risk to live behind a mask. you're almost sacrificing yourself in the process. But he's shown me that I can do whatever I want as an artist, as long as I, to my very core, at least know what I want to say. And to me, he's created games, I would call them, riddles that are so worth playing over and over that it's like Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear Solid. It's like he's playing games with you within the game. And that's how Doom always feels to me. It feels like he's playing games with the samples. He's playing games with the titles of the samples. He's playing games with his technique overall, So yeah, man, RP to Doom.
Yeah. He inspires me just because he's multifaceted. He's not only just this great MC, but his delivery, his writing, producing, sampling, all of it. It just, dude, embodies hip hop. Like, when we say like that's hip hop, like this dude is the real deal. And it's funny because he comes off as this average dude. That's the beauty of it. He's just average dude. What he represents is like, you can do it. Like the same way I'm doing it, you can do it too. Like that's the beauty. And I think the genius of MF Doom. So, RIP MF Doom, and dude lives on. So with that, gentlemen, we'll go ahead and leave it off here and continue on our journey onto more albums. For those who've been supporting us, we thank you guys for listening. We thank you guys for your love. We'll continue to drop every Monday. So thank you guys again. Stay blessed. Love y'all.